Welcome to the Man Cave Podcast with Dan Casper.
Let's do some business of sports, shall we?
Yes.
We got a couple of topics I want to hit up on. First off, I'm going to the golf world, and not necessarily U.S. Open here, but the PGA Tour. Don't know if you saw this. They're creating a sponsor exemption for one Tiger Woods. Cites exceptional lifetime achievement. They have created this exemption that will be available for Tiger Woods to compete in the 8 signature events, which feature limited fields, increased prize money, and FedEx Cup points. According to a memo that was obtained by ESPN, the tour told its members, quote, an additional sponsor exemption will be created to recognize Tiger Woods in his own category as a player who has reached an exceptional lifetime achievement threshold of 80-plus career wins. This season, the 8 signature events were the Century, the AT&T Pebble Beach Pro-Am, the Genesis Invitational, Arnold Palmer Invitational, RBC Heritage, Wells Fargo Championship, the Memorial Tournament, and the Travelers Championship. So, what does that say? Tiger draws money, doesn't he? We want to get Tiger to these tournaments and keep all the eyes on TW, even if he's not in contention, even if he's not going to be a favorite, even if he's not going to win. Tiger Woods still draws the views.
I was going to say, the other thing it says is he's getting old.
Yeah, exactly, right?
Because he needs
that's the other one.
Exemptions. Yeah.
Yep. So, smart move, bad move, good business move?
Oh, smart business move. Both of those combined that. Yeah, like, of course, like...
Here's my question, though.
Yeah.
We know Tiger is the ultimate competitor, right? What you just said there, too. I almost feel like this is like, how do I want to phrase this politely? Hey, Tiger, we know you kind of suck right now and you're struggling, but here you go. You just automatically get in here. As a competitor, does that take a little bit of a hit? I think that takes a little bit of a hit if I'm Tiger.
It does, and I imagine, given that he's been Team PGA in this whole PGA Live thing back when that was even more of a thing. Mm-hmm. I'm going to guess that he was in on this to a degree, that he's not being like, wait, what? How dare you say that about me? So I don't think he's going to react too harshly to it, his competitive spirit. But you talk about a competitor.
Yeah.
He's up there. Oh, here's our third Mount Rushmore of the morning. All-time best top competitors. Mm-hmm. Him, Jordan are 2 for sure.
Yep.
Yeah. So that was kind of what I'm thinking. Like, oh, so you're just going to let him in no matter how he's doing, and if he shoots a 90, whatever. We got Tiger in. We got ratings. We got people in the. But he's going to be a draw till he dies.
That's a quote.
True. He is. Like,
well, no, you just put it bluntly. That's
he will.
He will be. Yep. Yeah.
Right. Probably more so even than watching Arnold Palmer in the last times he could tee off at Augusta. Anyone else, it's going to be Tiger Woods is going to be the number one. Mm-hmm. So people are going to be glad just to see him.
Whenever it's announced, if it ever is announced ahead of time that this is going to be Tiger's last round at the Masters or the U.S. Open, that's going to be the story. I don't care who ends up winning that thing. Whenever that time, that won't be the story.
Which, mind you, could be like.
It could be,
it's going to be a long, I think it's going to be a long time. We could be talking like 30, 40-ish years from now. That is a very long time. But when it does happen, it will, well, the thing is, the people who remember the peak Tiger will be around that age too.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, you're exactly. And he's got a couple years. We were talking about it a little bit last week. You know, there's been some already talking to him about participating in the Champions Tour. And with the AmFam Championship that was last weekend, there's talk that it could be now a team event. I don't know if you heard about that.
Did not.
Where, and Ernie Els kind of let it slip, too, in his acceptance speech, saying who his partner was going to be. And there's some saying, hey, maybe this is what would get Tiger back to Wisconsin. And I'm just imagining, I'm like, if Steve Stricker can get his buddy Tiger Woods to be his partner, I'm going down there to watch that.
Oh, yeah.
100% I would be going down there to watch that.
Of course. I could see Tiger Woods, based on his body, not doing as well. I could see him like stopping in like his mid-60s and just
Yeah.
picking out a random time, but earlier than you would expect given the nature of golf. As much as, I mean, it's a sport that involves a lot of physical motion. It's athletics, as you well know.
Well, in all those surgeries that he has had, I mean, the arthritis is going to kick in sooner than it would for a lot of other people who didn't have the surgeries that he's had.
So maybe that last round, I mean, he may end up living a very long life. Maybe he does a Willie Mason, goes to like 93 or something like that. But I wouldn't be surprised if that last round at Augusta is actually maybe way sooner than we think. Mm-hmm. For that reason.
Well, I mean, he just said this might be my last U.S. Open.
Yeah.
He doesn't know at this point.
Yeah.
So, I mean, that talk's already out there. So,
Because would you want to see really stiff Tiger Woods?
It goes back to that question. I remember somebody having this when Kobe was on his farewell tour. Is it a draw to go watch Kobe even though it's not Kobe at the peak? And to me, I think I probably was one of the ones that was the wrong one. I never got to see Kobe. So, yes, I'd still want to see. It's almost like, to kind of put it in a, I don't know how many terms, it's almost like a funeral, right? To say your last goodbyes.
See, now this is where it gets really hairy, because I'm trying to imagine him on the tee, and then he has like this really kind of like janky swing, and the ball kind of bounces out like 20 feet in front. Mm-hmm. And I mean, I'm going with an extreme example, and that would not actually happen. But what if it's that? Like, oh, we're seeing Tiger Woods. Oh. Ooh. That sucked.
Yeah.
I mean, do you still want to see Tiger Woods if it leads to something like that? I don't think, well, he wouldn't want that. I don't know that most of us would. Like if
I haven't seen him play in person, so I would say yes. If I had seen him play in person, maybe my answer is different.
Yeah.
I have not been fortunate or lucky to have seen him in person.
Gosh, I almost feel a little embarrassed to say you've never seen Tiger Woods play in person, and I've seen him twice.
Yeah.
Twice! Now, granted, that's because of Chaska. It's pretty easy to go over there, and fortuitously, that just happened to be during those times, but...
that's why I want him to play in the Champions Tour and just play one tournament at AmFam so I could go down there and see it.
At what point do you decide, all right, I'm not sure if he's getting to Wisconsin. I also don't know how much longer he's going to do this for the reasons we just said. I am going to go to blank tournament because I know he's going to be at this tournament, and I'm going to watch him so at least I can, bucket list this thing.
Well, I mean, then I'm down to just the majors. So, I mean, I haven't been to Augusta, so I might have to spend about 10 years' worth of salary to go down there.
Well, you get best of both worlds. You finally get to go to the Masters,
Yeah.
and you finally get to see Tiger Woods.
I would also have to get lucky to get drawn for tickets.
Right, there's a lot that goes into all of that.
Because there's no major championship either going to Minnesota anytime soon, is there?
No. I mean, they'll be like, what is it, like the Ryder Cup might come there, but for the reasons we've said. I mean, there are only two possibilities, but the U.S. Open has their own thing. They like to be coastal, and the PGA is early enough in the year that's going to be a problem.
Yep. Yeah, so... Please play in the AmFam. Please play in the AmFam so I can go down there and check it. So, just to knock it off my list.
I would.
There's my list of my favorite athletes is longer. The list of players I have not seen play in person than the ones I've seen. Like I have never seen Shaq play in person. I never got to see Penny play in person. I never got to see Reggie White play in person. I never got to see Dion play in person. I never got to see any of those. Never saw Kobe play. Never saw Jordan play in person. So, never saw those guys.
Wow.
Yeah. That's a regret. I mean, but I didn't have the opportunity, though, too.
Right,
so
and that's the thing. Sometimes you got to be in the right place at the right time with a lot of this stuff.
Yep.
I will say both of us, we've been lucky for who we have been able to see of late because we work in media. And that it's worked out that way. But for a lot of us... you have to be right place, right time for a lot of these things, and you never know. I mean, I could have at those two tournaments, I could have followed one particular run or something and missed Tiger, or maybe he wouldn't have made the cut. It was fortuitous, like that one shot on Saturday at Chaska in the 02 PGA Championship, the one that Rich Beam ended up winning, and there was that shot on 18 out of the background. It was like you'd know that shot if you saw it that Saturday. And fortuitously, I was right by it. Right place, right time. You don't know when this stuff is going to happen. You might end up seeing Tiger Woods at some place. You don't know how it's going to come across.
Yeah.
So I would recommend finding some way to squirrel away some money and putting in an account somewhere. You got to see Tiger Woods. Campaign. Get Casper to watch Tiger Woods.
Hop in the mobile man cave and make a road trip.
Yeah. Can we, if you got spare change, folks, can you drop it off?
Well, where's the
extra bucks?
Where's the U.S. Open next year? Let me look it up here.
Oh gosh,
Oakmount, Pennsylvania.
It's not the worst drive.
Where's the PGA at? Oops, that's not how you spell PGA.
What did you?
Is it Quail Hollow? Yeah, Quail Hollow.
Okay.
Yeah, right? Quail Hollow? Yep.
Yeah.
That's in North Carolina, so.
Yeah, that's a longer drive.
Mm-hmm.
It's a possibility. You're definitely not going to go overseas. You're not going to go to the Open and watch them.
Well, I can't. I probably shouldn't do PGA because the draft is like shortly before that, so.
You get PGA tickets and you're like, no, actually the draft is happening. I think there's enough separation there, though.
I don't know. Did you see? It doesn't affect me because I already booked it way in advance. I'm like Michael Scott booking the Olympics. How many years in advance here? But Pro Football Talk had this article up about the hotels in Green Bay.
No, what is it?
So this was from a few days ago. The NFL is having its biggest offseason event in its smallest market next year, and finding a place to stay is proving to be a very expensive proposition. Nearly every Green Bay area hotel is already booked for the week of the 2025 NFL Draft, and Airbnb prices are skyrocketing, according to Jeff Bollier of the Green Bay Press-Gazette. A 3-bedroom house across Lombardi Avenue, on Lombardi Avenue across from Lambeau Field, is asking for almost $18,000 per night. With additional fees that would make the total cost for staying there the full week of the draft a whopping $142,875 plus taxes.
Okay.
I'll take my Shawano hotel room, and I'm good.
That's fine. That's fine. Wow. That's a lot.
Yeah. You know, we talk about how that draft is huge for Green Bay. I think that draft might be huger for people who have those houses around Lombardi Avenue right now.
Oh boy. All the money that's going to go into that?
Yep.
Dang.
If I had a house there, I would almost be like, you know what? I'd rent it out and just go somewhere else, and maybe I'd rent a hotel room or something like that.
I mean, as much as like it's a thing, there's also part of me that's like, I don't really need to be at the like if I'm going to be at a draft, it'd be like when I went to the NBA draft and when that used to go around the country at Target Center. But there you're like right in you literally are in the arena where everything is happening. And now at the NFL draft, it's so spread out. So unless you're lucky enough to be right at the front, why? You know, like then it's just a big like festival.
You got to get there and you got to boo Roger Goodell because that's what you do.
Well, if you can get close enough to boo him and he can actually hear your voice.
You got to be a part of the group to do that.
So, by the way, and I don't know if you looked at the long-term upcoming sites of the PGA and the U.S. Open, when I said coastal, like I was kind of, I mean, I knew that for the U.S. Open because that is sort of their thing, but they do have that one that's closer. Between the two, collectively, the closest one is going to be Oakland Hills in 2034 in Michigan. Everything else is like East Coast, far south, far west. You got to travel for everything that is booked out. And, of course, the U.S. Open booked way, way, way.
And they had the Ryder Cup in Wisconsin not too long ago, so that'll be a little bit, too. So, yeah.
Let's see. When is... I'm trying to remember when Hazeltine has their next big thing. Future events, they got the amateur this year, women's PGA in 2026. They got the Ryder Cup in 2029.
Okay. That ain't too bad, but...
Yeah. Do you think Tiger
won't be on the Ryder Cup team.
Okay. Could he be in a ceremonial thing?
Or is he like a captain sort of thing?
So you might be able to see him, but maybe not really golfing too much.
Yeah. Well, we've got a few years for that, so...
Yeah.
One more part of the business sports I wanted to bring up here, too, is we've touched on it before in the past, but now there's a bill approved to lure the Chiefs and the Royals to the state of Kansas. Kansas is making a serious run at becoming the new home for the Chiefs and the Royals, trying to lure them away from Missouri bipartisan legislator okayed the measure to authorize state bonds to help finance new stadiums and practice facilities for both teams on the Kansas side of the metropolitan area of 2.3 million residents. What do you think are the chances that both the Chiefs and Royals could actually move to the state of Kansas at this point in time?
I'd say it's under 50%.
I would be surprised.
Yeah. I mean, Kansas is taking advantage of what happened in Kansas City. And I get it. They're thinking economic boom and everything that can come from it. And now we can get into the whole debate of, does it actually work? Well, I mean, I guess for the state of Kansas, yes. Gosh, that would be weird that Kansas, this could be like a New York sort of situation with the NFL, where all three of, I mean, if we're going to extend to MLS and just for the sake of argument, the 5 main sports leagues, all three that Kansas City has could potentially play in Kansas, even though the big part of Kansas City is in Missouri, because Sporting KC plays over in Kansas from MLS, and then you'd have the other two going over there. I don't think it will happen, though. I mean, again, as I've said,
I think the happiest people right now are probably the Royals and the Chiefs, because they got somebody bidding for them.
Right. Totally. It's the Andrew Brandt line, like socialize cost, privatize profit, or whatever that is. It's totally what this is. I mean, they both could spend money on their own, but they're not going to. But I know the Chiefs want to stay at Arrowhead, and I think some way that's going to be secured. The Royals, ownership wants out of Kauffman Stadium badly. It's funny because Royals fans are like, no. Which is, I think that's part of the reason why it was voted down. There was all that lack of transparency, and the plans kept changing, and that's what really torpedoed what happened in April. But I don't know about the Royals. I could see them going across, but I will be surprised if the Chiefs up and leave. I know there was that schematic that came, or that design of like, ooh, this is what a Chiefs stadium would look like. Which is funny because it looks identical to the Raiders stadium, because it was put by the same company that designed the Raiders stadium and had the same one for Soldier Field. They all look identical. It's like you talk about cookie cutters. I think the Chiefs would be like, can we design this a little different? I mean, I know there's only so many ways you can design a stadium, but they probably don't want to look like their arch rivals, the Raiders. Come on, Kansas, try a little harder. But
Taylor Swift, sell naming rights to her. You know, she could probably afford it.
Hey, if the Big 12 can do that, call it Taylor Swift Stadium, and she'll pay for a whole lot of that and still have money left over. No, I don't. Ultimately, I think the Chiefs stay. The Royals want to do stuff so much. I'd say the chances of them moving across are like.
How old is the Royal Stadium? Because I've heard such great. I think it was you that talked about how awesome that stadium is. It feels like it's. Is it that old?
It's 50 plus years old. It's 70,
really
72.
Okay, so it is that old.
Yeah, same with Arrowhead. They both opened, gosh, I'm blanking, 72 or 73. But that's when, it was 72 for Arrowhead and would have been 72 for Kauffman. So, I mean, on the one hand, that is an older building. On the other hand, they're concrete. But sometimes those things can fall apart relatively fast. Ask Washington about FedEx Field and not keeping that up.
Hey, they finally replaced that AstroTurf practice field. See that a couple weeks ago?
I did not. Congratulations, guys.
I saw an overhead picture. I'm like, God, that just looks ugly out there, too.
They're moving into the aughts with that franchise. Right. That's cool.
So,
but it's not that old, and it's a great thing. That's why a lot of Royals fans, when people would be asked about it, and almost to a T, they're like, we love it here. And the problem there are. For the Royals' sake, not to belabor this too long, but for the Royals' sake, they want additional development. It's that whole thing, and you really can't do too much in where they're at right now, the Truman Sports Complex, because there's all the parking around there, which Chiefs want for tailgating. Because tailgating, as much as we talk about it in Wisconsin, and that is number one, Chiefs are definitely top 5. Mm-hmm. Same for the Royals, too. It's a big bleeping deal down there. Mm-hmm. That's why you heard that design, when the Chiefs were talking about the renovations to Arrowhead, their big selling point was, we're going to increase tailgating options. That's a thing. Like, they value that, especially in, the Kauffman Stadium grounds. But you can't have additional development. Plus, the neighborhood around there, for suburban Kansas City, not that great. I can tell you, it really isn't. So I think it's part of the reason why they want to move. But I think it's about 45% that the Royals go across. They're not moving anywhere else. I'd say 30, maybe 25% for the Chiefs.
Really quick, one more I wanted to bring up because it is going on here too. But we have that trial going on with the Sunday ticket with the NFL. Have you been kind of
a little bit there? Yeah.
Doesn't sound like anything's going to happen.
I don't know. Like again, to bring up Andrew Brandt, because he brought it up in his Business of Sports pod, and he doesn't have a strong view of which way it's going to go.
Yeah. So if you don't know what it is, really quick. Subscribers to NFL Sunday Ticket package are claiming the league broke antitrust laws by selling its package of out-of-market Sunday afternoon games airing on CBS and Fox at what the lawsuit says was an inflated price. Subscribers also claim the league restricted competition by offering Sunday Ticket only on a satellite provider. I know Roger Goodell's been testifying. I think, was it Jerry Jones had to go testify?
The line about the Bengals, but he's kind of, I mean, I think, yes, I'm bringing up the name Florio, said that's a knock because of the whole ownership thing, and that's why he mentioned the Bengals as an example of why the Cowboys are a bigger deal. But he's right. Mm-hmm. I mean, so yes, the Cowboys could go ahead and get their own package, but they don't because, he's true in that. Yeah, I could see that going either way. Like, I get the whole it's a premium product, and maybe Fox and CBS are colluding on the one. On the other hand, gosh, that's a lot of money.
Yeah,
and it isn't entirely fair. No, so I
don't know. I guess I don't know. I don't have Sunday Ticket. I'm curious, does anybody still purchase Sunday Ticket? That from our list, people obviously still do, but I'm curious, like if there's some that are just like. That they do it every year. They may complain about the price, but they still do it every year.
That's the thing. So many people will still spend money on that. I mean, at first blush, without knowing a price of it, it sounds incredible. And then you see the price, you're like, am I really going to watch that much for that amount of money? No, that's too much, actually.
Would you pay, I'm just going to throw out a number, though, $100 a year for Vikings-centric football, streaming sort of thing, or a Packers one? I mean, I know our games are local, but say you're out of market. See,
that throws it off because, like, this upcoming season, I think I figured is like the first year that every Vikings game is going to be on. I won't have like the Fox or CBS them and the Packers at the same time, same game or same window.
Say you lived in North Carolina,
right? Oh. No, I don't think I would.
Oh, I would in a heartbeat.
Well, I know. I would be surprised if you didn't.
Yeah.
I mean, to be honest, $100 for that. This is where you start doing if I spent this much money on this sort of stuff throughout the year and it actually adds up to $100, and you go, oh, well.
So say $10 a month, so $120.
Like I'm still saying no, but I could be convinced to say yes too. Mm-hmm. I think I'm also imagining my wife being like, really? Are you okay? So I expect you then to watch every single game. And then I'd find myself doing other stuff during the game because it's like domestic life stuff that you end up having to do. Like, well, I missed that game. And then I start sweating like, great, I just paid for that game and I couldn't even watch it. And then that becomes a problem. Like, I'm just like, why did I do that? But in and of itself, let's presume I'm retired and I'm a snowbird, like you said. So I'm down south, which I'm never going to do that. But if I did, that's the example. Then in that case, maybe I probably would at that point. If I had the time, if I knew I could watch all the games, then yeah, I probably would. Right now, no, but maybe at some other point when I know I can devote 3 hours for sure and I don't have anything else going on, yeah.
Mm-hmm.